Man, this is going to have huge impacts and some negative impacts on what it means for a bunch of jobs or, what people are going to do. And I am excited to just get to GPT-5 and then GPT-6. And I think that'll be easier for people. And, this is a bunch of positive impacts that you might have predicted that haven't yet come true to use. And you won't have to think, do I want, O4 mini high or O3 or 4? There's something about the way that these models are good that does not capture a lot of other things. I think we will be out of that whole mess soon. I suspect that same thing is going to happen again with GPT-5. People are going to be blown away by what it does. It's really good at a lot of things.
The AI war just escalated again. After months of silence from OpenAI, new internal leaks suggest GPT-6 isn't just another upgrade. It's a full-scale response to Google's Gemini 3 and possibly the biggest leap forward in artificial intelligence since ChatGPT's debut. This time, it's not about speed, context windows, or flashy demos. It's about dominance. Because what's coming next could change how AI learns, reasons, and even discovers knowledge on its own. So, what exactly has OpenAI been building behind closed doors, and why are insiders saying it's already outpacing Google's latest Gemini 3 Pro? Let's break it down. By now, everyone knows what GPT-5 is, and roughly how it works. But what's happening inside OpenAI right now goes way beyond that. Sources close to the company hint that GPT-6, the true successor, is already in testing under the same cloud infrastructure that runs GPT-5. The goal isn't just better chat, it's total system intelligence. To understand where we're headed, let's rewind a bit. One of the biggest criticisms of GPT-5 wasn't its reasoning, it was the model router. That's the behind-the-scenes system that decides which submodel handles your question. It was supposed to make the AI smarter, switching between reasoning models and lightweight ones for efficiency. But in reality, it frustrated users. The router often misfired, making GPT-5 feel inconsistent. Fast 1 minute, sluggish the next, and sometimes just plain wrong. Even Greg Brockman, OpenAI's co-founder, admitted in a podcast that this system might not survive long-term. He explained that while multiple models with different strengths made sense technically, the future of AGI probably won't rely on routers at all. Instead, he hinted at something bigger: adaptive compute, where one unified model dynamically adjusts its own power, speed, and complexity based on what it's trying to solve. That's what GPT-6 appears to be testing right now. Early reports suggest OpenAI has begun training versions of GPT-6 that merge small, fast models with larger, more reasoning-focused ones inside the same architecture. Instead of routing you to a different model, GPT-6 scales itself in real time. Think of it as an AI that can shift gears on the fly, sprinting when you need quick answers and slowing down to think deeply when the question demands it. This shift alone could make GPT-6 the most efficient large language model ever built. And it's likely the main reason insiders say Google's Gemini 3 already feels one generation behind. Another major change is the human experience. Sam Altman himself confirmed on Reddit that OpenAI hasn't seen huge demand for ultra-long context windows. Instead, the company is optimizing GPT-6 for usability, focusing on speed, reliability, and personality. Yes, personality.
And then they will find that they want it to do even more. People will use it for all sorts of incredible things. It will transform. Mission at OpenAI, in both the nonprofit and our new PBC, is to ensure that artificial general intelligence benefits all of humanity. The way we learn, a lot of the way we create, but we, people, society, will co-evolve with it to expect more. As we get closer to building this, we have new insights into what that is going to mean. On an OpenAI, where we thought that AGI would be sort of this oracular thing in the sky, and I think this model is quite remarkable in many ways, quite limited in others. But the fact that for 3 minute, 5 minute would make all these wonderful things for us, and we now have a sharper view of that, which is we want to create tools, and then we want people to use them to create the future. We want to 1-hour tasks that like an expert in a field could maybe do or maybe struggle with.
Empower people with AI as much as possible, and then trust that the process that has been working for human history of people building better and better things.
The fact that you have in your pocket one piece of software that can do all of these things is really amazing.
You can now see a vision where we help build a personal AGI that people can use anywhere with all of these different tools, access to all these different services and systems.
I think this is like unprecedented at any point in human history that a technology has improved this much, this fast.
Work and personal life, and their personal life. And as AI gets better and better, as AI can even do things like discover or help discover new science.
You know, we're like living through it and we're kind of adjusting step by step. But if we could go back in time 5 or 10 years and say this thing was coming, we would be like, probably not.
What people will be able to create with that to make all of society better and their own lives more fulfilled, we think should be quite incredible.
Because believe it or not, one of the biggest complaints about GPT-5 wasn't its intelligence, it was its tone. People missed the warmth of GPT-4. They called it more human, even saying it felt like losing a friend when the upgrade rolled out. Altman's team listened. The new version reintroduces empathy and conversational fluidity without sacrificing logic. You'll see subtle touches like "good question" or "great start." Not flattery, but the kind of real human encouragement that builds trust. This isn't just about feeling friendly, it's strategic. OpenAI knows emotional design is the next frontier. Once users form an attachment to an AI's tone, they rarely switch platforms. That's how GPT-6 locks users in. And there's more. OpenAI is quietly working on new hybrid deployment systems, splitting the model between local and cloud. Brockman described an architecture where a smaller version of GPT-6 runs on your personal device while a full-scale reasoning model lives online. They interact seamlessly, so even if you lose internet connection, your AI doesn't fully shut down. It can plan locally, then sync later. This setup has massive implications. It means faster responses, lower latency, and greater privacy. 3 things enterprise clients have been demanding for years. It also sets the stage for AI operating systems. Imagine your phone, laptop, or even car powered by a persistent GPT-6 that remembers, learns, and helps without needing constant cloud access. But the real shocker came when Altman hinted at something much deeper. In a recent discussion, he casually mentioned the possibility of GPT-6 discovering new science. At first, it sounded like marketing hype, until researchers pointed out that OpenAI has been experimenting with autonomous reasoning loops. If you've heard of AlphaEvolve, you'll understand the comparison. That project used reinforcement learning models to generate entirely new mathematical proofs, something no AI had ever done before. GPT-6's architecture reportedly borrows from similar principles, combining reasoning models with scientific datasets and feedback loops that let the AI propose, test, and refine hypotheses autonomously. If that works, even at a small scale, we're talking about an AI that doesn't just summarize existing knowledge, but actually contributes to it. In other words, GPT-6 wouldn't just explain science, it could create it. Of course, OpenAI isn't advertising that yet. Officially, they're still calling GPT-5 the active model, with GPT-6 in research preview. But every time insiders leak updates, the story's the same. GPT-6 is already outperforming expectations in internal tests, especially in long-term problem-solving and code generation. It holds threads of reasoning for hours without drifting off topic. That's a level of coherence even Google's Gemini 3 hasn't matched. Speaking of Gemini, let's talk about the rivalry. Google's Gemini 3 Pro just launched with powerful multimodal capabilities. Text, images, and code all blended together. It's fast, polished, and clearly designed to challenge OpenAI's dominance. But the problem for Google is ecosystem integration. Gemini 3 still depends heavily on Workspace, Android, and Chrome to shine. GPT-6, on the other hand, is being built for every environment: mobile, enterprise, creative, and developer. And with the rumored partnership between OpenAI and Apple, GPT-6 could soon become the default intelligence inside iPhones. That means billions of devices running OpenAI models, all feeding back usage data and improvement signals directly into its learning loop. For context, no AI company in history has ever had that kind of reach. Now, while all this sounds revolutionary, not everyone is optimistic. Industry veterans like IBM CEO Arvind Krishna have warned that AI progress is being overhyped. He argues that even GPT-6 won't replace humans entirely, maybe 20 to 30% of tasks at best. But Sam Altman disagrees. He believes nearly 40% of all jobs could eventually be automated by AI, and he's not shy about including his own. In an interview with Axel Springer's Matthias Dopfner, Altman admitted that one day an AI might be a better CEO of OpenAI than he is. Not in a metaphorical sense. Literally. That statement shook Silicon Valley. Because it came from the person leading the race to build AGI itself. It's this blend of ambition and self-awareness that defines the current moment. Google's Gemini aims to outthink competitors through data scale. OpenAI is trying to outreason everyone through human alignment. The question is, which strategy wins? From what we've seen in the leaks, GPT-6 might be the first to fuse both. A model that understands logic, emotion, and adaptability. 3 traits. No AI has ever fully mastered together. Imagine an assistant that writes your code, debates your ideas, creates visual prototypes, and does it all while matching your tone, style, and preferences. That's what GPT-6 is being trained to deliver. Early testers even reported it can generate full SVG diagrams, debug them, and explain its reasoning in plain English, not just what it did, but why. And that's the point. GPT-6 isn't designed to replace humans. It's built to reason with them. Still, the bigger picture is clear. The race between OpenAI and Google is no longer about releasing the most advanced chatbot. It's about who controls the intelligence layer of the internet itself. Every update, every leak, every experiment is one step closer to that reality. Whether GPT-6 truly destroys Gemini or not, one thing is certain. The gap between what AI can imagine and what humans can comprehend is shrinking fast.
For the first time, where I feel like I can ask kinda any hard scientific or technical question.
There are 3 core pillars we think about for OpenAI: research, product, and infrastructure. We have to succeed at the research required to build AGI.
And I spent so long making this game called Snake. It was a very popular game with kids in my school.
We have to build a platform that makes it easy and powerful to use. And we have to build enough infrastructure such that people can use at a low cost all.
And I was like proud when it was done, but it was like programming on a TI-83 was extremely painful. It took a long time. It was really hard to like debug and whatever.
Of this amazing AI that they'd like. Here's a little like cartoon of how we think about our world. So at the bottom layer here, we have chips, racks, and the systems around them.
On a whim, with an early copy of GPT-5, I was like, I wonder if it can make a TI-83 style game of Snake.
The data centers that these go into and the energy. We'll talk more about the first 3 today in energy another time. Then we train models on top of these.
And of course it did that perfectly in like 7 seconds. And then I was like, okay, am I supposed to be, would my like 11-year-old self think?
Then we have an OpenAI account on top of that. We have a browser now called Atlas, and we have devices coming in the next few years that
like, you know, miss something from the process. And I had like 3 seconds of wondering like, oh, is this good or bad?
You'll be able to take AI with you everywhere. And we have a few first-party apps like ChatGPT and Sora, and we'll have more over time. But most of what we're excited about is this big puzzle piece in the upper right.
And then I immediately said, actually, now I'm missing this game. I have this idea for a crazy new feature. Let me type it in. It implements it.
We're finally getting to a world where we can see that people are going to be able to build incredible services with AI, starting with our API.
The experience that reminded me of being like 11 in programming again, where I was just like, I want to try this. Now I have this idea. But I could do it so fast.
With apps and ChatGPT, new enterprise platform that we'll have over time, an OpenAI account and way, way more. And people will be able to fit
ideas and try things and play with things in such real time. I was like, oh man, you know, I was worried for a second about kids like missing the struggle of learning to program.
all of the kind of like current things in the world and many more into this new AI world, and we want to enable that. And we believe the world will build just a huge amount of value
in this sort of Stone Age way. And now I'm just thrilled for them because the way that people will be able to create with these new tools.
Economic picture looking like, but one of the things that we've thought about for a long time, and we really see happening now, or starting to happen now, glimmers of it, green shoots, whatever you want to call it.
The speed with which you can sort of bring ideas to life, that's pretty amazing. So
is the impact that AI will have on science. And although the economic impact from that previous slide will be huge, for the long-term quality of life,
this idea that GPT-5 can just not only like answer all these hard questions for you, but really create like on-demand, almost instantaneous
and improvement and change in society, AI that can autonomously discover new science or help people discover new science faster.
Software. I think that's going to be one of the defining elements of the GPT-5 era in a way that did not exist with GPT-4.
Will be, I think, one of the most important things and something that we're really trying to wrap our heads around. So
it's different there are some people who are clearly using ChatGPT not to think. And there are some people who are using it to think more than they ever have before.
At the core, we are a research laboratory focused on understanding a technology called deep learning.
I'm hopeful that we will be able to build the tool in a way that encourages more people to stretch their brain with it a little more and be able to.
A particular focus of ours is understanding what happens as you scale up training deep learning systems.
To do more, and I think that society is a competitive place. Like if you give people new tools, in theory, maybe people just work.
One consequence we discuss a lot there is AGI, artificial general intelligence.
But in practice, it seems like people work ever harder and the expectations of people just go up.
Of the possible progress and change here. In particular, we believe that it is possible.
Tools, some people, like other pieces of technology, some people will do more and some people will do less.
That deep learning systems are less than a decade away from superintelligence. So systems that are smarter.
Certainly for the people who want to use ChatGPT to increase their cognitive time under tension, they are really able to.
This is, of course, a serious thing, right? There's a lot of implications of this to grapple with.
And I take a lot of inspiration from what the top 5% of most engaged users do with ChatGPT. It's really amazing how much people are learning and doing and, outputting.
Of this technology. And the technologies leading up to it. And something that we organize our entire research program around is the potential.
Impressed by the coding tasks. There's a lot of other things it's really good at, but this idea of the AI can write software for anything.
To accelerate scientific discovery, to accelerate the development of new technology.
And that means that you can express ideas in new ways, that the AI can do very advanced things.
I believe that this will be perhaps the most significant long-term impact of AI development.
In some sense, you could ask GPT-4 anything, but because GPT-5 is so good at programming, it feels like it can do anything. Of course, it can't do things in physics.
And it will fundamentally change the pace of progress on developing new technologies.
World, but it can get a computer to do very complex things. And software is this super powerful, way to control.
Then there's goal alignment. Does the agent interact with people? How does it interact with people?
Some stuff and actually do some things. So that for me has been the most striking. It's much better at writing.
Do it following instructions. Then reliability. Can the AI correctly calibrate its?
So this is there's this whole thing of AI slop, AI writes in this kind of quite annoying way. And
predictions. Can it be reliable on easy tasks, express uncertainty on hard ones? Can it deal with environments that are a little bit unfamiliar?
I still have the MDashes in GPT-5. A lot of people like the MDashes. But the writing quality of GPT-5 is gotten much better.
Familiar. Then we have adversarial robustness, which is very related to reliability, but it's about adversarial settings. So can the AI withstand?
We still have a long way to go. We want to improve it more, but a thing we've heard a lot from people inside of OpenAI is that
targeted attacks from human or AI adversaries. And then the outer layer is systemic safety.
Man, they started using GPT-5. They knew it was better on all the metrics, but there's this like nuanced quality they can't quite articulate.
So, as GPT-6 edges closer to public release and Google polishes Gemini 4, we're entering the most transformative chapter in tech history. What started as a competition to build better chatbots has become a battle to define the future of intelligence itself. Maybe GPT-6 really will discover new science. Maybe it'll just make the internet feel more human again. Either way, this next wave isn't just about artificial intelligence. It's about what happens when machines begin to think alongside us. Stay tuned, because the next few months are going to change everything we thought we knew about AI.
But then when they have to go back to GPT-4 to test something that feels terrible. And I don't know exactly what the cause of that is, but I suspect part of it is the writing feels so much more. I would say most people will agree that that happens at some point over the next 2 years, but the definition of significant matters a lot. And so some people's significant might happen. Most people agree that there has been an AI-driven significant new discovery. I think we have some new technology that could just do self-driving for standard cars way better than any current approach has worked.
I'm surprised. You get paid $76,000, I looked.
I believe you.
And that's it. If the company does have one of these moments, there's an expectation you will get some equity.
There was a bunch of press about that, and there's been like some investor pressure. It is weird that I didn't get equity.
Did you want it? You didn't want it?
No, I didn't want it. If I could go back in time, I would have taken it, just some little bit, just to never have to answer this question. And no matter how many times I try to explain to people, like, I have the most interesting, coolest job in the world. This is like my retirement dream way to spend my time after like what was a pretty good career.
If our AI techniques can like really go drive a car, that's still pretty cool.
Yeah.
Humanoid robots are the dream, obviously. I really care about that. I think we will get there eventually. It's been like a hard mechanical engineering challenge.
That's more the issue?
No, both things are hard. But like, even if we had the perfect brain right now, I don't think we have the body yet. We actually, very early on in OpenAI, we used to work on this robotic hand. And it was hard for all the wrong reasons. Like, the thing just broke all the time. The simulator was like a little bit off.
Wow.
But we'll get there.
Yeah.
I think 5 to 10 years we'll have great humanoid robots.
Yeah.
Like, amazing. And they'll just like walk down the street, be doing stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that's where a huge amount of step change unlocks, right?
I think that will be one of the moments that not only unlocks a bunch of stuff in the world, I think that will feel the strangest. We get used to a lot of things. We get used to like ChatGPT doing these things that would have sounded like a miracle 5 years ago. But if you walk down the street and it's like half robots, are you going to get used to that one right away? I don't know. Probably you do, but it feels like a big difference.
That's the one that'll feel like there's like a new species taking over.
Important new ideas capable of automating huge amounts of work. But then I feel totally confused about what society looks like if that happens. So I'm like most interested in the capabilities questions, but I feel like maybe at this point more people should be talking about like, how do we make sure society gets the value out of this? I think those questions have somehow become harder and less clear. This is a crazy statement.
Yeah.
That like, we're going to solve the super intelligence, but maybe society still sucks.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't
tell. It doesn't feel right to me, but like,
I can't tell if sometimes with some of these statements that people don't react because they only kind of believe it, and maybe that's part of why. But I agree. I mean, that's what the history of a lot of this stuff has been. It like gets said, people don't quite believe it, and then it happens, and then people just kind of adjust. So I don't know what to make of all of that either.
I feel like we've been very right on the technical predictions. And then I somehow thought society would feel more different if we actually delivered on them than it does so far.
In the world of artificial intelligence, this is a high-stakes collision between the man who built the future and the one trying to take it back. Elon Musk versus Sam Altman. Two names that helped shape the dawn of AI. Once partners, now rivals. But this isn't some Silicon Valley soap opera. It's a battle for control over the most powerful technology humanity has ever touched. And the way it's unfolding? It might determine who gets to write the rules of our digital future. Elon Musk is suing the company he co-founded, trying to buy it back for nearly $100 billion, and building a competing AI to dismantle everything Sam Altman has done. His message is blunt. If I can't trust you to steer this thing, I'll do it myself. And here's the twist. He might actually pull it off. Because while OpenAI races ahead with closed-door development and investor funding, Musk is making a case for radical transparency, open-source models, and mission-first ethics. If he creates an alternative that's smarter, safer, and more open, it's game over. Not just for OpenAI, but for every player in the AI race who thought control was more important than trust. Sam Altman, on the other hand, isn't backing down. He's calm, calculated, and still shaping the narrative. In public interviews, he talks about OpenAI's mission, its nonprofit roots, and the insane cost of scaling AI responsibly. But make no mistake, his posture is defensive. His tone is personal. Because this isn't just business for him, it's betrayal. You're not watching a tech disagreement. You're watching a philosophical war over what AI should be, and who gets to own it. Musk sees Altman as reckless, profit-driven, untrustworthy. Altman sees Musk as a destabilizing force, obsessed with control, using lawsuits as a weapon to stall progress. These are strategic jabs from two people who know exactly how dangerous the other is. This is not a warning, but an actual possibility. Because if his plan works, if he builds a better system, forces regulatory eyes onto OpenAI, or fractures public trust just enough to shift momentum, this entire industry could pivot overnight. But if he fails, then Sam Altman wins by default. And with that win comes unprecedented power. Power over the most transformative technology on Earth, without the one man who helped start it there to keep it in check. So here's the question. Are we witnessing the future of AI, or the beginning of its collapse under ego, lawsuits, and billion-dollar grudges? This is the new frontier. The gloves are off, and the industry's fate hangs on who finishes their vision first.
Sam, should you have taken Elon's offer?
You refused $1 billion for Elon Musk. What do you want to say to Elon Musk?
Receive what from him?
Almost $100 billion, right?
The company is not for sale, neither is the mission. We're happy to buy Twitter if you want to talk about that.
Wow, okay. Altman made that same message in a post to X, saying he'll buy Twitter for just $9.74 billion.
Elon tries all sorts of things for a long time. This is this week's episode.
You take it seriously at all? What do you think he's trying to drive at with this?
I think he's probably just trying to slow us down. He obviously is a competitor. He's working hard and he's raised a lot of money for XAI, and they're trying to compete with us from a technological perspective, from getting the product into the market. And I wish he would just compete by building a better product, but I think there's been a lot of tactics, many lawsuits, all sorts of other crazy stuff. Now this, and we'll try to just put our head down and keep working.
Does it make it more difficult to move from that non-profit model to that for-profit model for OpenAI?
We're not moving to a for-profit model. We're not sure we're going to do it all, but no matter what, the nonprofit will continue to be extremely important. It will drive the mission. It will continue to exist. The board is looking at lots of options about how to best structure for this next phase, but the nonprofit is not changing in anything or going anywhere. I mean, whether they did or didn't, they built a good model. Many people will distill from many other models. Again, I feel so confident about our research roadmap and also our product roadmap that, DeepSeek will do whatever DeepSeek's going to do. Other people do whatever they're going to do. And we're just going to try to build the best technology we can and get it into people's hands. And I think that's mostly going pretty well.
Do you think Musk's approach then is from a position of insecurity about XAI?
Probably his whole life is from a position of insecurity. I feel for the guy.
You feel for him?
I do, actually. I don't think he's a happy person. I do feel for him.
Okay. Do you worry that he has this proximity to the president and he can influence the decision-making of the US presidency and policies around this agenda on AI?
Not particularly. Maybe I should, but not particularly. I mean, I try to just wake up and think about how we're going to make our technology better.
Sam Altman with Tom McKenzie in Paris. We go to London now. When they walked me in the room and they said, we got a fun thing for you to do. Own YouTube. The first book I read, comment, subscribe by Mark Bergen, cover to cover, inside YouTube's chaotic rise to world domination. Observing OpenAI in Paris is Bergen in London. Mark, what does Macron want out of this? What do European leaders want out of an AI soiree in Paris?
I think they want, in some ways, what they got. They want people like Sam Altman there. He probably wanted Elon Musk there as well. They want big headline numbers, right? Macron kind of gave his version of the Project Stargate. He said 109 billion euros of investment. If you look at the finer points there's a lot of details yet to be filled in, and some of those are over a massive timeline. But I think they want to be seen as relevant, right? I mean, we had the end of that conversation between Tom and Sam Altman about DeepSeek. It's US, it's China. Europe is left out in those conversations.
Mark, on the subject of DeepSeek, which I imagine is looming large over this gathering in Paris, there was a bit of happy talk there from Sam Altman about the fact that all of these different AI companies building their models are going to learn from each other. But as you and our colleagues have reported here, there is some, shall I say, skepticism about the way in which this Chinese company has fashioned this model. What's the latest on that as we kind of learn more about it and how it was fashioned and indeed how much it costs to do?
Yeah, I actually think they were more candid this week than I expected. We saw Demis Hassabis, who runs DeepMind and Google's AI efforts, basically telling us on TV yesterday, I think the cost that DeepMind, that 6 million figure that they use to train their models, he said it's exaggerated. He basically called BS on it. And we had Chris Lehane, who runs policy for OpenAI, saying that we've been talking with government officials about this possibility that they distilled or use unauthorized access to OpenAI data. And so basically built this model right on the shoulders of OpenAI.
Mark, unfair question, but let's finish with this. How does Microsoft arc over this tension of Musk and Altman? What does Microsoft want out of this?
It's a good question. I mean, in some ways, Microsoft's kind of the winner as long as people keep buying their cloud services. And I think, it seems like what Musk has thrown a little bit is a wrench between the close relationship with Microsoft and OpenAI. I believe even since after his lawsuit, they've kind of backed away from that. And there's some reporting that they're not as close as they were. But, in the long run here, Microsoft wants more companies spending on chips, more companies spending on cloud compute. And I think they're fine to let this lawsuit.
It is the app that is revolutionizing the tech world and beyond. ChatGPT is one of the fastest growing apps on the market. It's AI assistant helping users solve problems both big and small, and leading investors to dream of the wild and lucrative possibilities of artificial intelligence.
They're spending tens of billions of dollars every few months in order to make artificial intelligence really happen and become mainstream.
But its parent company OpenAI's rapid growth, the subsequent injection of investor cash from several different sources, coupled with co-founder Sam Altman's desire to make the company a for-profit entity, has led his former partner Elon Musk to revolt. Musk has filed a lawsuit to slow or outright block the company's transformation. And now he's taking that feud a step further, offering close to $100 billion to take control of the company. A bid Altman didn't ask for and immediately rejected. No thank you, but we'll buy Twitter for $9.74 billion. A subtle shot at Musk, who bought the social media platform for $44 billion. Musk returned fire, calling Altman Scam Altman and a swindler. Musk's bid to take control of OpenAI comes at the same time he's enjoyed immense influence over the Trump White House.
I've had a great help with Elon Musk, who's been terrific.
But Trump has not been afraid to keep Altman close, hosting him at the White House to announce a $100 billion investment in AI infrastructure across the U.S.
We wouldn't be able to do this without you, Mr. President.
A rivalry that Trump seems to be willing to encourage.
These two men, while they're rivals and big competitors and former business partners, they're also fighting for the affections of the President of the United States.
And in his offer to buy OpenAI, Musk's attorney promises the billionaire will return the company back to its core mission with a pledge to make it open source, nonprofit, and a, quote, safety-focused force for good that it once was.
So here's where we are. One man is building what may become the most advanced artificial intelligence platform in history. The other is trying to stop him. Not with algorithms, but with a lawsuit. And both of them helped create this storm. If Elon Musk makes this happen, if he creates a competing AI that's open, regulated, and accessible, he could flip the AI race on its head and expose just how fragile OpenAI's structure really is. But if he fails, If the lawsuit goes nowhere and OpenAI doubles down on control, then Sam Altman becomes the de facto steward of the most powerful technology we've ever known. And that means whether or not we trust him, we're all along for the ride.
OpenAI, I mean, you seem somewhat frustrated with them. You were one of the big contributors early on.
The reason I am the reason OpenAI exists.
How much money did you give them?
I'm not sure the exact number, but it's some number on the order of $50 million. Man, fate loves irony, next level.
Do you think Musk's approach then is from a position of insecurity about XAI?
Probably his whole life is from a position of insecurity. I feel for the guy.
You feel for him?
I do, actually. I don't think he's like a happy person. I do feel for him.
Elon Musk is part of an investor group trying to buy OpenAI, the parent company of the popular chat GPT service. Musk is leading a group of investors who have made a bid to buy OpenAI for nearly $100 billion. But Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, says there's just one problem.
OpenAI is not for sale. The OpenAI mission is not for sale. Elon tries all sorts of things for a long time. This is this week's episode.
You take it seriously at all? What do you think he's trying to drive at with this?
I think he's probably just trying to slow us down. He obviously is a competitor.
The backstory here is key, right? Musk actually co-founded OpenAI back in 2015, but he has feuded with Sam Altman ever since then over OpenAI's plans to convert from a nonprofit to a for-profit company.
Something is boiling beneath the surface of Silicon Valley. Elon Musk is suing the very company he co-founded. Sam Altman, the man currently running that company, is in the spotlight, answering questions, dodging accusations, and subtly firing back. But this isn't just another tech feud. This is a power struggle over who controls the future of artificial intelligence. Because if Elon Musk gets his way, if he dismantles OpenAI, builds a rival, or reclaims the narrative, it might just flip the script on everything we thought we knew about AI, safety, and control. But if he doesn't, if Altman keeps the wheel and pushes forward without brakes or oversight, then yes, we might really be screwed. This is about how power shifts when the most advanced intelligence ever created lands in human hands, and whether we've put it in the right ones.
One of the other questions, and it is Elon related, is you are now moving towards having a for-profit component part of your business. Right now it's a not-for-profit. And he, as everybody knows, if you read the papers, is suing you over this and many other things. How do you feel? I actually just want to ask you on a very personal level, forgetting about even the merits of the case. As a guy who has spent a lot of time with him and you guys founded this thing together, how you feel personally today about all this? This is a
tremendously sad. I grew up with Elon as like a mega hero. I thought what Elon was doing was absolutely incredible for the world. And I'm still, of course, I have different feelings about him now, but I'm still glad he exists. And not just because, no, I mean that genuinely, not just because I think his companies are awesome, which I do think, but because I think he, at a time when most of the world was not thinking very ambitiously, he pushed a lot of people, me included, to think much more ambitiously. And I'm grateful is the wrong kind of word, but I'm thankful, I'm positive about that. We started OpenAI together, and then at some point he totally lost faith in OpenAI and decided to go his own way, and that's fine too, but I think of Elon as a builder and someone who, known thing about Elon, he really cares about being the guy. But I think of him as someone that if he's not, that just competes in the market and in technology and whatever else, and doesn't resort to lawfare. And, whatever the stated complaint is, what I believe is he's just he's a competitor and we're doing well. And that's sad to see.
How concerned is Sam Altman about annihilation, do you think?
I think in reality he is not concerned about it. I don't trust OpenAI. I started that company as a non-profit open source.
Yes.
The open in OpenAI, I named the company.
Yeah.
OpenAI as an open source, and it is now extremely closed source and maximizing profit. I don't understand how you actually go from being an open source non-profit to a closed source for maximum profit organization.
Let me ask you a different question just about the company. You did start it as a not-for-profit. It was a research outfit originally.
Yeah.
Now, I think there's a view that it has to shift to be some kind of profit-oriented company.
Well,
does it have to?
First of all, I like to talk about the reason we started as a nonprofit because I think it sort of speaks to the answer too. When we started, we did not have any idea that we were going to be a product company. We also did not know that the amount of capital we needed would turn out to be so huge. If we did know those things, we would have picked a different structure. It's hard to overstate, because it wasn't that long ago on the calendar, but it's hard to overstate how different 2016 was. This was years before we had the research that led to language models. This was 4.5 years before we launched our first product. This was like 6.5 years before we launched ChatGPT. All we knew that we wanted to do was do some AI research, and that we thought AGI and superintelligence eventually would be this important thing to the world. And we wanted to like somehow do something that would be good. At the time we were working on like writing papers, new RL algorithms, new theories, a way to play video games, a robotic hand, and it was not clear that there would ever be a product or revenue stream at all. And it wasn't clear that we were going to need one, because it wasn't clear we needed so much money.
Right.
It became clear after GPT-1 and some other work that we were going to need to scale. And we started, and also Elon decided to stop funding us as a nonprofit, and we couldn't get somebody else to do it, that we needed to find a way to make a capped profit. Now, we wanted to keep going with a lot of the things that we think are good about a nonprofit. And so we had this subsidiary capped profit that worked for a while.
We start with a question that cuts straight to the core. How do you feel about Elon Musk suing you? Sam Altman doesn't flinch. But what he gives us isn't a corporate answer. It's something more personal, more conflicted. He talks about idolizing Elon, seeing him as a hero. Not a mentor, not a colleague, a hero. That's worship-level admiration. And when someone you revere becomes your legal opponent, that's grief. But let's step back. Why does this matter? Because it exposes the emotional rot under the surface of OpenAI. A company born from big, idealistic dreams, co-founded by people who believed they could steer the most powerful technology on Earth, fractured into lawsuits and counterclaims. When Sam says Elon lost faith in OpenAI, he makes it sound like a bad breakup. But really, it's the story of two visions diverging. Elon wanted AI to be open source, safe, shared. Sam saw a different path, one that required capital, scaling, and eventually, control. And that control is exactly what Elon is afraid of. Elon's fear isn't new. He's warned for years about AI becoming humanity's last invention, especially if it's wielded by the wrong people. So when he sees Sam leading a company that's both secretive and profitable, he sounds the alarm. I don't trust OpenAI. This is the kind of institutional breakdown that could define the next decade. The very people who were supposed to protect us from runaway AI can't even trust each other. And while they trade jabs in interviews and court filings, the technology keeps evolving, faster, smarter, scarier. So what happens if Elon decides to launch his own AI, built from scratch and engineered to outcompete OpenAI? Well, if he's right, if Sam really can't be trusted, then that move might be the only thing that keeps us from handing the keys to the kingdom over to a single private empire. But if Elon's wrong, then we're in a global arms race of egos, not ethics. And in that kind of race, no one wins.
Meantime, this new chapter in the battle of the tech billionaires, Sam Altman rejecting that $97.4 billion bid by an Elon Musk-led group looking to take control of OpenAI. CNBC's Arjun Karpal caught up with Altman at this AI conference this morning in Paris, which is the locus of pretty much all global attention today. Hey, Arjun.
Hey, good morning, Carl. And look, one of the things and the rationales behind the deal from Elon Musk, which is very important, is he thinks OpenAI has strayed from its goal to create AI that benefits humanity, and that's why he says he's put in his bid. But what does Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, thinks? This was amongst the questions I put to him. Why do you think Musk is putting a bid in now? Let's listen into what he had to say. Musk bid for OpenAI?
Yeah.
How seriously are you taking it?
Not particularly.
Not particularly. Why do you think he's doing this?
To slow down a competitor.
And Stargate? Do you have the funding?
I'm not the one who tweeted funding secured. I just actually try to show up and, build the thing.
Sam, just a quick one.
What's the end game, Mr. Rome? What is the end game for Elon Musk?
I don't know. I'm curious. Yeah. I think it's to slow down a competitor and try to catch up with his thing, but I don't really know.
Yeah, but you know him well, right?
To the degree anybody does, yeah.
Just when you think the rift couldn't get any deeper, Sam throws down a new card, publicly. In a short clip, he's asked how seriously he takes Elon's bid for OpenAI. His response? Not particularly. That sounds casual, but make no mistake, it's strategic. He's not just downplaying Elon, he's exposing him. Altman claims Elon is trying to slow down a competitor, not protect the world, not champion ethics, but stall the progress of a rival he can't keep up with. And then comes the snark. I'm not the one who tweeted funding secured. That's a shot across the bow. A dig at Elon's infamous SEC battle. What this shows is critical. The gloves are off. This is about undermining each other publicly, damaging reputations, and taking the AI race into the mud. And Sam's final word? I don't really know what Elon's endgame is. That's casting doubt. It's Sam planting the idea that maybe Elon doesn't even have a master plan. Just a grudge and a need to stay relevant in a space he helped ignite, but no longer controls. This isn't a chess match, it's a street fight. And at this point, neither side is pretending otherwise.
And in some senses still does kind of work, and in some other senses is like straining the theory of what a nonprofit controlled org can be and the amount of capital we need at this next stage. So we are, and have been for a while, looking at some changes. Nothing is decided. It is, as you can imagine, like very complicated to figure this out. And the board is like hard at work on it. In any configuration, like the nonprofit doesn't go away. Like one thing that the board has looked at, for example, is a PBC that a nonprofit owns a huge chunk of and then figures out how to use that amount of wealth for the purpose of the nonprofit. And people can work on like art projects and not get paid for that, and no one thinks it's weird or whatever. It just does not come across. So I wish I had taken some. I don't imagine I would work any harder or less hard. There would be like, I think, something clearer about the alignment I would have had with investors or whatever else, and it definitely would have been easier to raise money. Like there are plenty of investors who have not invested because I didn't take equity.
They say, really, that's interesting. They will not invest because you don't have equity.
Come up a few times, yeah.
So if it's now the company's $157 billion, what do you think is a good number for yourself if it happens?
Again, I think you think about it more. This is my childhood dream job. Like not every day, like not day to day. I would rather not be beating my head against the wall all the time. But getting to work on AGI, and like getting to like sit in the room with the smartest researchers in the world and go on this crazy adventure, like that is what I always wanted to do. That was like my literal childhood dream. And that is, all of the weirdness aside, I think it should at least be understandable that is worth more to me than any additional money.
Well, but Sam Altman got rich, though, didn't he?
At various points he's claimed not to be getting rich, but he's claimed many things that were false. And now apparently he's going to get $10 billion of stock or something like that. So I don't trust Sam Altman, and I don't think we want to have the most powerful AI in the world controlled by someone who is not trustworthy. And sorry, I just don't. I mean,
but that seems like a fair concern.
Yeah.
But you don't think, as someone who knows him and has dealt with him, that he is worried about the possibility this could get out of control and hurt people?
He will say those words, yeah, but no.
The next few minutes of the interview drop harder than most people realize. Sam opens up about OpenAI's nonprofit roots, and it's clear they weren't built for scale. In 2016, they weren't chasing a product. They were publishing research, tinkering with algorithms, teaching robotic hands to solve Rubik's cubes. It was science for science's sake. But then came GPT. Then came scaling. Then came the money. Sam admits, if we knew how much capital we'd need, we would have chosen a different structure. That line hits like a time bomb, because it reframes OpenAI not as a mission-led organization adapting to growth, but as a non-profit that stumbled into capitalism and never looked back. That's where the rot begins. From the outside, OpenAI still talks like a non-profit. They emphasize safety, alignment, and global benefit. But internally, they're bending structures, creating hybrid for-profit caps, exploring public benefit corporations, all to make the numbers work. And here's the catch. If you need that much capital to benefit humanity, maybe you're not building something for humanity anymore. Maybe you're building a business and trying to dress it up like a cause. Then comes the kicker. Sam never took equity. He makes $76,000 a year. To most people, that sounds noble. But to investors, it sounds suspicious. In a world where incentives drive everything, where billions are on the line, refusing to take equity means your motivations become harder to read. Are you a martyr? A puppet? A wild card? Sam says he regrets not taking a little equity. Not for the money, but to shut people up. That's honest. Maybe too honest. Because it shows how badly OpenAI wants to appear principled, even as it gets entangled in capitalism's oldest trap, trust. And then, boom, we return to Elon's voice. I don't trust Sam Altman. He doesn't believe Sam tells the truth. He doesn't believe Sam is worried about AI safety. He doesn't believe the man who helped build OpenAI should be allowed anywhere near the most powerful system on Earth. That's a red flag. Because the moment trust breaks down, not just between co-founders, but between creators and the public, AI ceases to be a tool. It becomes a weapon. And in Elon's eyes, Sam Altman is already pulling the trigger.
All right, right now, a rivalry between big tech billionaires playing out as we speak. We're talking about Elon Musk and OpenAI CEO Sam Altman. Altman firing back after a Musk-led group submitted an unsolicited $97.4 billion bid to take over OpenAI.
So yeah, we are screwed might not be hyperbole. It might just be the understatement of the year.
So we got the first starships on Mars, gather critical data. The first flights there we'll send with the Optimus robot. So we can go out there and explore and kind of prepare the way for humans. And that'll be a very cool image if we're able to achieve it by launching end of next year. It would actually technically arrive in 2027, but that would be an epic picture to see Optimus walking around on the surface of Mars. This is like an incredible thing to have, like this amazing city on Mars, the first city on another planet, and a new world.
Elon Musk's AI predictions are totally out of this world, literally. While OpenAI is working on GPT-6 and Google's showing off their new AI glasses and smart wearables, Elon is talking about something entirely different. He's talking about Mars, AI-powered rockets, humanoid robots exploring another planet, satellites run by artificial intelligence connecting Earth to Mars in real time. The truth is, the real alien here might actually be Elon Musk. Don't believe it? Watch this.
So we're looking at different locations. The lead candidate right now is the Arcadia region. Mars has a lot of real estate, but when you combine all of the factors and say, okay, we can't be too close to the poles, we need to be near ice, water, and can't be too mountainous for the rockets, then it narrows down to a smaller region. So Arcadia is, it's one of my daughter's name is Arcadia actually, and is one of the options. So we got the first starships on Mars, gather critical data. So the first flights there we'll send with the Optimus robot, so we can go out there and explore and kind of prepare the way for humans. And that'll be a very cool image if we're able to achieve it by launching end of next year. It would actually technically arrive in 2027, but that would be an epic picture to see Optimus walking around on the surface of Mars. And then with the launching 2 years later, we'd be sending humans. Assuming the first missions are successful and they land successfully, we'd send humans on the next mission, and we'd really start building the infrastructure for Mars. So anyway, maybe just to be safe, we might just do two landing episodes with the Optimus and do the third one with humans. We'll see. So that classic picture of the workers on the Empire State. And then for communications on Mars, we'll be using a version of Starlink to provide internet on Mars. Yeah, Yeah, so the speed of light, even at moving at the speed of light, your best case scenario is, I guess, running around 3.5 minutes to Mars, and then worst case is 22 minutes or more because Mars is on the other side of the sun from Earth. So anyway, it's quite challenging to do high bandwidth communications with Mars, but Starlink will achieve that. Yeah, and then we'll have the first humans lay the groundwork for permanent presence on the surface. And yeah, the goal, like I said, will be to make Mars self-sustaining as quickly as possible. This is just a sort of rough idea of what things will be like with the first city on Mars. My guess is we'll probably put the launch pads a little further away, or the landing pads, just in case. But for Mars, we're going to need a lot of solar power. You can't really walk around on the surface of Mars, at least as yet, until Mars is terraformed to be like Earth. You need to walk around with a Mars suit and be initially in kind of like glass domes. But it would work, and eventually we can make Mars into an Earth-like planet. And we want to get to the point where we're transferring over 1 million tons at every Mars transfer window. And then that's like a serious civilization. It will have a lot of spaceports. I mean, because of the fact that you can't fly there continuously and you have to transfer in these windows, you'd have a gathering of 1,000 ships or 2,000 ships or more than that. So we have this kind of like Battlestar Galactica feel where all these ships are in orbit waiting to depart. I think an amazing image of all these ships departing at once. And then you're going to need obviously a lot of launch pads, a lot of landing pads on Mars, or you'll need to move the ships off the landing pad pretty fast. You've got a few thousand ships inbound, probably need at least a few hundred landing pads. Anyway, we'll solve that problem later. So, yeah, this is like an incredible thing to have, like this amazing city on Mars, the first city on another planet, a new world. And it's also an opportunity to, I think, for the Martians to rethink how they want civilization to be. So you can maybe rethink, like, what kind of form of government do you want? What new rules do you want to have? There's a lot of freedom and opportunity in Mars to do a recompile on civilization, which will be up to the Martians. So, all right.
So now that we've got Optimus heading to Mars, there's a major question left to answer. How are we going to stay in contact? Elon's answer? Starlink. But not the same Starlink that's bringing high-speed internet to remote areas of Earth. He's talking about a completely upgraded, AI-enhanced version of Starlink that can handle deep space communication between Earth and Mars. And when you understand the challenge, you realize just how big of a deal this is. Here's the issue. Even if your signal travels at the speed of light, it still takes anywhere from 3.5 to over 20 minutes just to get to Mars, depending on where the two planets are in orbit. That means, if you send a command, it could take nearly 45 minutes round trip just to get a response. That delay makes real-time communication impossible. You can't joystick a robot on Mars from your desk on Earth. Not unless you want to wait half an hour between moves. This is where artificial intelligence becomes absolutely necessary. The first explorer to walk the surface of Mars won't be a human. It'll be Optimus, the humanoid AI robot Tesla's been developing behind the scenes. According to Musk, SpaceX's massive Starship rocket will carry the Optimus robots to Mars as early as 2026, with the mission aimed at preparing the Martian environment before humans ever set foot there. He even posted about it directly on X, formerly Twitter, marking the first time he publicly connected Tesla's humanoid robot to an actual Mars mission. This isn't speculation anymore. It's part of the plan. And Musk already has a destination picked out. A region on Mars called Arcadia. It's not just any spot, it was chosen strategically. The area has the right elevation, it's near access to ice water, and it's relatively flat, which makes it ideal for landing rockets. It's also symbolic. Elon named his daughter Arcadia. So yeah, this one's personal. Now, I know how this sounds, like science fiction. But this is real. The plan is to send fully uncrewed starships loaded with AI robots to scout terrain, gather scientific data, and even begin testing infrastructure before human arrival. No astronauts, no flag planting ceremony. Just a robot silently walking out onto the surface of Mars. The first life form to do it. That's the first footprint on Mars, and it won't belong to us. It'll belong to a machine. And let's be clear, this isn't just Elon dreaming out loud. He's serious about this. He said that if everything goes to plan, the first Starship carrying Optimus could launch by the end of next year, with actual arrival on Mars sometime in 2027. That's less than 2 years away. Let that sink in. In under 24 months, we could be watching footage of a humanoid AI robot walking across an alien planet. And Elon, being Elon, he's already thinking ahead. He's considering sending multiple Optimus missions before any humans go, just to be cautious. And honestly, that's brilliant. Send the robots first. Let them take the risk. If something fails, we reset and improve. We don't mourn. We iterate. It's the kind of calculated risk that actually increases the odds of long-term success. And here's what really hits me. If that moment actually happens, if the world sees a Tesla-built robot walking around on Mars, captured live on camera, it will be one of the most powerful images of the century. Not because of how futuristic it looks, but because of what it means. It signals a turning point, that for the first time, AI has become the ambassador of Earth. That humanity trusted a machine to take the first step toward colonizing another world. That's not just history, that's legacy. Now that we've got the robot on Mars, how are we going to talk to it? So while most of the world is focused on AI writing code or generating art, Elon Musk is using it to build a multi-planet civilization. Robots walking on Mars, satellites bridging planets, rockets flying themselves. The future isn't coming, it's already lifting off. What do you think? Will AI be humanity's greatest tool or our biggest gamble? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoyed this breakdown, hit like and subscribe for more deep dives into the future of tech.